Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Sleepy Hollow After Show here for the season finale, 2 episodes 12 and 13 for season 1 that they finished off here tonight on Monday, January the 20th, I believe. Yes, Monday, January the 20th. The season's over. It's weird for a network to have a 13 episode season. I have a feeling that they weren't really sure if this was a show that was going to catch on, and they only did 13 episodes for the season, and that's fine, I suppose. But anyway, my name's John Campea. You can see my name over here. I am your host tonight. I am joined by the lovely Ashley Oxford.
Look, Ma, no hands. I got the big mic.
You got the big mic tonight. That's because
Anne's not here.
Anne's not here tonight. Anne is actually off at a work thing in San Diego.
Anne.
So it's just Ashley and I tonight covering the season finale. So hello to all you guys who are watching us live. It is like 2 a.m. on the East Coast.
Troopers.
And yet a bunch of you guys are actually watching us live, which is kind of cool. I'm going to let you know, I'm still sick. I got the plague when I was down in Vegas at New Media Expo, and I'm still sick. So in order to keep myself from coughing far too much, I am going to frequently I'm going to be smacking my lips and sucking on halls throughout the whole show. So please forgive me. I know it's a little bit rude and annoying that I'm doing that, but it's much worse if I just sit here and cough and hack and wheeze. So anyway, season 1 is now in the books. It's done. Which is weird. So let's start with our positives and negatives. We're going to start off with the things that we thought were positives about these 2 episodes. And we're just going to talk about them as one episode.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to break them up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the 2 episodes, the season finale. Ashley, let's start with you. Your positives about the season finale of season 1.
My positives is still the quippy Scooby dialogue. There were so many nuggets. I started writing them down, and then my hand got tired and I wasn't paying enough attention. There were so many fun little lines. The antiquated phone. I love that Ichabod is susceptible to contemporary marketing, but is aware of it. I really liked when they did the transition into purgatory, the sort of Lewis Carroll homage with the look going through the looking glass. Mullet kind of looks like a Jabberwocky, so I thought that was neat and by no means accidental. Other things, there are a lot of things, but something may trigger it. What did you like?
Wow, I mean, me. Well, first of all, the dialogue again, but that's nothing new with the show. I mean, that's something that is a regular mainstay, is that the dialogue in these shows are just incredible. I love the whole thing. I'm a mental patient with a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that was great. But a lot of quippy little one-liners too was all really good. That first part of the season finale, when they're looking for Washington's grave. Was it just me, or did it feel like National Treasure 3?
It was absolutely National Treasure 3. It was like every Freemason junkie's wet dream. It was, everyone's been waiting for that one, and you're not going to get National Treasure 3, so there you go.
I was floored. First of all, when they get to George Washington's grave, I was under the impression from the vision that the old priest was just rowing the boat, and they had the body, and they went to some island to bury him. That's quite a tomb they constructed. By the way, they also brought some 3-ton statues and some marble engraved signias.
Right.
And this huge marble coffin. And it seemed kind of elaborate.
It was extremely elaborate and very, well made. I mean, I don't see how that much, pyramid-shaped marble could go virtually unnoticed in a town like Sleepy Hollow during the Revolutionary War. Is that the right war? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I think my biggest I don't know if it's a pet peeve yet about the episode, is that there were so many fun pieces of the episode like that, like the cool tomb and the mirror and all these really neat nuggets that I couldn't decide whether they were unfair and like insta fantasy with no explanation, and because I have a problem with suspending my disbelief, or if it was just great. I still haven't decided. I was entertained, so I guess that probably puts it in the great category, but I'm still on the fence as to whether or not I want more explanation and less wow factor for that.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room thing. So yeah. I said on a previous after show that I am not going to be surprised if Jeremy, Ichabod and Katrina's son, that was buried. And we always said he wasn't dead. They just said they put a hex on him to stop his heart.
Right.
So we knew he wasn't dead. And I kind of threw out a wild theory. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a horseman. So, okay, score one for me. He's a horseman. What I did not see coming was he was going to be Henry Parrish.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. At all. I figured the son will come back. I knew that for sure. And I figured he might be a horseman, but I did not see it being John Noble.
No.
Not at all. I didn't see that coming in the least. That one got me completely off guard.
And I didn't like it. I can't. I don't know if that's because I spent so much time thinking about what would be happening, and it was none of those things, and so my ego's bruised, or I really don't like it. But I really don't like it. It doesn't explain why he's so old. I mean, they stopped his heart, but if he's been laying in the ground for 2 centuries, might be a little older. Well, John Noble's not that old.
My interpretation was that he aged very slowly under the ground.
But once he surfaced, like, ooh, there it goes.
Well, no, because remember, when they pulled him up, he was already aged. Remember, as soon as Moloch pulled him out of the ground.
Pseudo-aged.
He was already the age he is now. He just had long hair.
Okay, and was a completely different actor.
No, that was him.
That was not John Noble.
Oh, that was absolutely John Noble.
That was not John Noble.
We will go back and I will show you, but that was John Noble.
Somebody from Fox want to tweet that, because that was...
It was absolutely John Noble. When we freeze frame it, you'll see completely that's John Noble. But
hi, Captain.
They did a good job of... It is difficult in today's day and age where so many people are looking for the twist now.
True.
To actually hit the audience with something they really didn't see coming.
And to have the character, as the twist, tell you there's going to be a twist that you're not going to see coming. I did like that. I like the flashback sequence where he basically was like, I've been telling you the whole time, and we didn't see it. But, yeah.
Hector Zeroni is saying in the chat board that he called 2 episodes ago that Jeremy was Walter. And by Walter, I think you're giving us, you mean his name from Fringe.
Walternate is my dad. My dad spoiler alerted me
on
Facebook
right,
and went,
Walternate,
no! And I was like, oh, don't look, because he's on the East Coast. Kills me. Walternate is a Walternate. Oh.
Walternate is actually a Walternate.
Yep. He's a Gemini.
People who have never watched Fringe have no idea what we're talking about when we say Walternate. But two-sided character kind of thing. He seems to always do that. He kind of did it in Lord of the Rings, too, a little bit. Yeah, and people in the chat were to back me up. It was John Noble coming out of the ground.
All right, fine.
We'll go look at the video evidence in a little bit just to back that up. Right. Okay, so one of the things I did not think they would do.
Okay.
I did not, and I've said this from the beginning, I never thought they would bring Katrina back into the real world.
And that early.
And they did it. And they did it. So I didn't really think they would go there. I still have to hope and believe they're going to send her back. But they did bring her into the real world, and that's something I didn't see coming. I mean, a lot of you guys on the chat, I know a lot of the viewers called it that they thought they would bring her back, but I didn't think they would go there.
No, and then, now that she's been slung over the back of the horseman, we are kind of keeping steady to that Hollywood theme that I hate. I've lost her forever. I find her, I have her for a second. Someone else either kidnaps her or she dies. So now she's been kidnapped by the horseman who loves her, so that might buy her a couple of episodes, but I don't know what's going to happen, and I really hope they don't keep going that direction.
And you know what? For a second, when the Headless Horseman comes and takes her and rides away with her, for a second I'm like, wait a minute, why is he doing that? And then when John Noble called him Abraham, I was like, oh, that's right. He's Ichabod's old friend, and he's always had a love crush on Katrina, and his deal with Moloch is that he gets to have her.
Well, practically the whole reason he's a horseman is because he loves Katrina. I mean,
and he wants to get her back. And
exactly.
And now he's got her.
No, for how long?
We don't know. Really, really hate that as a cliffhanger, I hated it. Yeah. I mean, put it this way, it's good in many ways, but as a fan, I hated it because it's like, give me some upbeat. Even the end of Empire Strikes Back, okay? Empire Strikes Back is a great example of you can have an ending that is the bad guy won, and yet still end it on an uptick. You know, because at the end of Empire Strikes Back, you know, the rebellion has almost been crushed completely. Boba Fett's taken off with Darth Vader. The Empire has won, but they ended on an uptick. Luke and Leia and Lando escape, and it ends them on that medical ship looking out into the stars. And you know they have a plan to try to get things back. And I don't mind at all the idea of a season finale and a cliffhanger of the bad guy winning, but give us something of an uptick, because it just ended on this note that now has to linger in the air for 9 months.
Super downer. I mean, You've got the sister upside down in a car. Yeah. You've got Abby's in the dollhouse. I mean, but at the same time, it makes me wonder, did they, 13 episodes. Did they say, okay, well, worst case scenario, we get chucked out the window. Is this the worst place to leave an open-ended series that nobody watched?
Well, that's what happened. Do you remember last year?
It may not have been their choice, really.
Fox had another series last year called Alcatraz. Do you remember that?
Yes! I tried
with
so
the
hard.
The guy from Lost.
Gave up. Yeah.
And
last year or the year before?
It was either last year or 2 years ago.
The year before.
And it had the same thing. It had a season just like this one. Mm-hmm. It's like boop boop, everything sucks. But then they didn't get picked up for season 2. So it's like very dissatisfying, because I watched Alcatraz on Netflix, and I watched the entire first season not realizing it didn't get picked up for a second season. So I watched to the end of the first season. It's like, wow, that was a bummer. Okay, that's kind of sucked. All right, when does season 2 start? Oh, there is no season 2. Thank you for just wasting the last month. Thank you for wasting my month. I remember that.
I think that's the hardest thing after I can't get over the Pan Am heartbreak. No one is on my team on that one. But I have such trouble now with networks now, and it's a catch-22. Like, you want to support a show that's good, even people aren't watching, but you don't want to get your heart broken, and sometimes you can see it coming. I'm so glad that didn't happen with Sleepy Hollow. It didn't. It's safe, right? It's been renewed.
It's coming back. Renewed. It's coming back.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that hasn't happened. But there's nothing worse than getting your heart broken by a show that you love and other people just don't get. Pushing Daisies, Sports Night. Need I go on? Pan Am. But back to Sleepy Hollow. There was something. If you have something, let me know, because I have to go back. Oh, George Washington is a zombie.
Oh, zombie George Washington. That was a great zombie George Washington.
I'm ready for Halloween next year. Done. George Washington.
We were watching the show, and Ashley goes, "How many people this Halloween are going to be zombie George Washington?" I said, "I don't think enough people watch the show for a lot of people to do it, but."
Good. I'll be the only one instead of all the, Miley Cyruses and Lady Gagas.
If this was a really popular show right now, we would have zombie George Washington.
Question. This bothered me the whole time, and we were, doing without commercials, so I had to watch it. But did I miss something with this map? I mean, I liked the chasing of the map. I enjoyed that whole part of the storyline. It was compelling. But why does Moloch need a map of Purgatory to destroy the world when he rules Purgatory? I mean, that's like saying I need a map of, I need blueprints for my house to take over the world, but I live in it. Like, I know where things are. Did I miss something? Anyone on the chat boards want to chime in? Because I'm feeling, I'm having a blonde moment. Like, did anyone else feel weird about that?
I think Moloch played them. Because I think what Moloch wanted, Moloch wanted the two witnesses separated, and he wanted Abby in purgatory.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was the prophecy, and once you get to the end, and John Noble is, exposition, haha, you're dumb, for sure. But does that? Why didn't two very smart people that have done a mountain of deductive reasoning up until this point not even consider that when wondering why Moloch needs the map so bad? It bothered me to the point where I was like, there needs to be some sort of loop, or maybe there is something I forgot, but it seemed like a weak device. But
you're right, though. People. Why didn't the first thing they say when somebody said, Moloch needs the map to purgatory? Why didn't one of them go, well, Moloch is guarding purgatory. He knows where it is perfectly well.
Right. And it was weak. It was weak. I mean, and that's a huge construct. We spent half the episode in the tomb and all that expensive shit for kind of a weak point. I must have missed something. Help me out, guys. Chat word, please, because I don't know what I'm missing here. But
as it turns out about that whole thing, Abby was right the whole time. They should have just destroyed the map and left it destroyed.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's and I think Moloch was counting on the fact that Ichabod, above everything else, above all other rationality, would want to get his wife back, and he would convince himself one way or the other that he needed to go to purgatory and get his wife back. And I think Moloch was relying on that, and he played him with it.
Yeah, and I liked some of the good character moments. Like Ichabod goes back to the cabin and has I could see the memory redrawing of the map coming, but it was a sweet moment. I thought it was done well. I like when Ichabod and Abby are saying goodbye in the church, and I'll come back for you, and Katrina just what? Yeah. That was great. I would have been upset if they hadn't thrown that in there. But I think that it does leave a lot of questions open for see something happen between Abby and Ichabod, but that's also television. They're going to make you want that, whether it's ever going to happen or not.
But you know what's funny is, and this leads me to something that I love about this show. Pardon me. Near the beginning, when they first started talking about purgatory, I remember we had a conversation. You're like, oh my gosh, next season they're going to purgatory. And I said, I think they're going to purgatory today. I think this is all happening today. And that kind of leads me to something that I really love about Sleepy Hollow. And not that I would want every show to do this, because it wouldn't work for every show. But for Sleepy Hollow, it does. Sleepy Hollow crams a lot of shit into each episode. They have a lot, because another show could have introduced this idea of finding, first of all, you got to find a map to even get you to purgatory. Then you got to get to purgatory. Then you got to find Katrina. Then you got to do this, and then you got to do this, and then you got to do this. And they could have stretched that out over 9 episodes. But Sleepy Hollow's the kind of show where they like to introduce you to a concept and then run you through the whole concept that episode. And that has worked really well for this show, where I don't think it would work well for a lot of other shows.
Yes, but follow me here on this one. Again, when we're talking about a network show that managed to gain an audience early but was only cut for 13 episodes, this entire plot line could have been stretched over 20, 22 episodes with a little more work. And I can't help but feeling these last 2 episodes were so dense. I mean, and that one little nugget, the captain, that got started and then it got erased. But by the way, here's a notebook. He did some research when no one was looking. He's been shipped upstate, probably filming another movie. We don't have time because it's the last 2 episodes. But here's a notebook with the answers. Go dig through hours of tape, find this. Like, it was so dense. And I like the density, and I like that if they did find themselves in a situation where these were stretched over a larger, I think they condensed it well. I think that was one hell of a zip job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another thing to keep in mind too
is, but if we go into a full season, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we go into a full season next year, they're gonna dial it back and start to milk it.
I'm not convinced about that. See, when you look at Showtime, HBO, Stars, their big series are 12 and 13 episode seasons. And it's quite possible that with guys like Roberto Orsman and whatever. Orsi. I was about to say Kurtzman. So I said Roberto Orsman.
It's like they're a couple.
That maybe Fox is going to be playing around and experimenting with a 13 episode. See, I mean, it's certainly cheaper to make a 13 episode season.
Hella cheaper, especially when you have all those shows that fail and get canceled. Why not just let them take over and not flood? The question is what gets substituted in the empty spaces, and maybe they have a plan for that.
See, now some people are saying in the chat board that, stretching it out, all it does is add empty filler. And I think there was so much stuff, though, in the first season of Sleepy Hollow that you could have stretched that out without it feeling like filler.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I'm not sure I want them to do that either, because like I said, whereas in a lot of other shows, to me, the pace of Sleepy Hollow would have felt rushed. For whatever reason, Sleepy Hollow, though, this pace, for me, just really worked for this show. I think a lot of other shows, like imagine Dexter. If they went into a 2-hour season finale of Dexter, and Dexter introduces a brand new serial killer that he's got to go after at the beginning of the episode, he figures him out, hunts him down, does it, and has it all wrapped up by the end. We all would have said that was rushed. But with Sleepy Hollow, they introduce 10 major concepts and bring them to resolution in one episode. And in Sleepy Hollow, for whatever reason, it works. Yeah. So, and it's just, it's not an easy thing to pull off. It's something I really respect about the show.
No, absolutely. I feel like maybe the producers have been a part of enough passion projects that they've loved that they have seen fall into the wayside. I can't say how many shows that again, you fall in love with the show. You've been watching, you've been doing the work, but at some point, our audiences that don't smartphones and attention spans, and if you don't hook people absolutely by the third episode, but really at the end of the pilot, you're done. It doesn't matter how good it is, and it doesn't matter how much development in it. And I feel like a really good approach is throw it all in there and hook them early. Get it in there, make them want to know more. I'm looking forward to 22 episodes next season if they do that, because when we'll get character development, which I love, and a couple of characters. Obviously, Ichabod's gotten crazy amounts of development, but we'll get to see more, from the captain. Morales might I even get 5 more lines before he gets hit with something again, because that whole storyline with him and Abby, I mean, those are places that could have filled in. For all you guys that think it would have just been filler, maybe I'm just looking forward to seeing, good-looking men on the show, but I would have liked to see that. I'm sad that I might have to wait until next season to see a development of that storyline. There are so many character development chunks that I guarantee you would have loved if they'd had the opportunity, but it was probably really smart.
That is where Sleepy Hollow, look, if you're going to cram in that much stuff into a show in just 13 episodes, you got to sacrifice something. And I do think the sacrifice Sleepy Hollow made was on character development.
For sure.
They have character development on Abby, and they have character development on Ichabod. And everybody else is very, very surface. And you only get little glimpses of them, and it takes a really long time to learn even small details about them. Whereas in a show that was moving at maybe a slower pace could develop those characters more. But like I said, for whatever reason, in Sleepy Hollow, this frantic pace really works. And I don't think it would work for a Dexter, and I don't think it would work for a Supernatural or work for an Arrow or work for, Newsroom or whatever. But for this show, it seemed to work.
Well, I think the supernatural element certainly helps there too. When you've got a lot of fast-paced, you've got action sequences, frankly, which move quickly, but also with the fantasy element and this cool black creatures I loved those. Did anybody else love them? The cool black creatures that came out of the ground and evaporate when you shoot them, but they're kind of shiny. I'm a raccoon. I just like shiny things. But I mean, those little elements help keep the fast paced visually interesting, and so then the Masonic thing, it helped. I'm so torn. There's so much happening in Sleepy Hollow that so many other shows haven't done. It's a new world, television lovers, and I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it. This episode was so dense. I'm exhausted.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about the cocoon effect for John Cho.
Oh,
the
yes.
Andy character.
So
How
cool
did he look when he came out of that? See, I thought when he would eventually come out of that web cocoon, I thought he would just be I thought Moloch was going to heal him and let him go out and do his business, and that would make him even more loyal to Moloch and blah, blah,
Absolutely.
blah. I wasn't expecting him to come out
a metamorphosis.
looking like, I don't know, some character from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, that's what he did. He looked like some weird character from Dragon Ball Z coming out of that thing. And I thought he looked really, really cool. Yeah. I thought he looked great. I don't think he's dead.
No, he keeps coming back, and he's a really good, string for Abby. But I really like how so many times, good characters will go bad, and then they just literally turn into zombies. They're just master, and they do whatever they're told. And he's constantly struggling with his desire to do what he knows is the right thing, but he's got this equal Moloch pull, and he loves Abby, and he's conflicted, and it's frankly very human. And I I think that it's rare that you get a combination of someone who's clearly become a demon, but has become almost intensely human in the process. For me, I like that.
Yeah, and I think, look, Abby put, I don't know if it was a tire iron or something, through his brain, and he got up. So I don't think having some big rocks fall on him finishes him off.
No.
So they're not done with, and you're right. He has been maybe the only truly multi-dimensional character in the show. Everybody else in the show is either a very noble good guy or a very evil bad guy. But here you have John Cho's character, who's always been somewhere in the middle of that. He's a servant of Moloch, but he has real affection for Abby. He doesn't want to see people get screwed over, but he figures the screwing is coming, so might as well be on the right side of the screwing.
Yes.
Better to be the screwer than the screw-e. But he has been, in many ways, the best character in the show in that sense, that he's been multidimensional, and we did get to see some really good things about that in him this.
Oh, the thumb thing. What I like the most about the I'll dislocate my thumb now and slip out of the cuffs is that he could have done that at any time. He could have, but his point and his purpose was to try to warn, help, and protect her. He wasn't there to attack her, and sure, he looks disgusting and creepy, but his purpose was nothing but benevolent, and it was charming. He just snuck out the back. It felt a little Neil Gaiman-esque to me, actually, for any of the American Gods fans, actually.
It was funny because. We're getting close to a half hour here, folks, so we're gonna have to wrap this up, and my voice is starting to go. But
can you take questions?
I don't think I got a voice for it right now. But
okay.
I was talking to John Schnepp this morning after doing AMC Movie Talk, and we were talking about the different new shows that have started over the past year or so, and he had mentioned that he hadn't tried Sleepy Hollow, and what I said to him was, you know what? I wasn't going to watch Sleepy Hollow because I thought Sleepy Hollow looked stupid. It sounded like a stupid concept.
I did too, actually.
The commercials for it looked dumb, and I thought, why am I going to waste my time watching this piece of garbage? But the fact of the matter is, I like Roberta Orci and Alex Kurtzman, and they had a hand in it. So on its premiere night, I just thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to watch it. And it was so creepy. And funny and charming, and these two great lead characters, the only characters who got any real character development in the show, but this Abby and Ichabod and the chemistry that they instantly had on screen, and the charm of it, combined with the creepiness of it, the mixed in mythology, a little bit of National Treasure, I instantly loved the show. Yeah. And it became one of my favorites on TV almost instantly. And I think this has been a great first season.
Agreed.
It felt like they just kept ramping it up and up and up and up as the season went on. Every show has a slow episode or two, and certainly Sleepy Hollow had a couple of slow episodes, but even then they were great. Wonderful show. Very solid season finale. I do wish it ended on an uptick instead of a big bummer downer.
Yeah, it was so fast-paced. Okay. I agree. I didn't care for that, but I'm not judging the series as a whole. I think it can recover. I'm looking really forward to it. I felt the same way about the show. I saw the ad and I went, oh God. You know, everyone's reviving old stories and making, you know, cowards or bad guys heroes. And it's not really worked for a lot of other stories. And I'm pleasantly surprised. But really, for me, it's the dialogue. Like I tried to get into Dracula and I just couldn't do it. It's taking it. I love Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, but I just can't do it. And I don't know if it's the element of comedy that keeps me coming back. But I think it's great that they've done that. And I think Sleepy Hollow is fantastic. I'm so excited for next season.
Yeah, very, very excited for next season. We can't wait. Thank you guys for. We've only had a chance to do 3 or 4 of these because we were late getting on doing the after show for this, but we will be back in season 2, and we're gonna work on finding what show we're going to do an after show for next to replace Sleepy Hollow.
Yes.
While we wait patiently for Sleepy Hollow episode or season 2 to come along. We've already thrown around some ideas about what that could be.
You're gonna be excited.
But we will make that decision pretty quick here. So probably in the next couple of weeks we'll be back on. But thank you guys for joining us so much.
Thank you.
Share this around. Thanks a lot for watching the show. Make sure you join us again when we come back for season 2 of Sleepy Hollow. Of Sleepy Hollow. So again, sorry that I'm coughing a bunch. Thanks for your patience with me. So, Ashley, where can people find you online if they want to find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Ash_Oxford. Tweet me if you're, I had to start all over again, so I have like a minimal amount of followers. So if anybody's bored, follow me, chat with me. I'm always happy to chat back.
And you can find me on all the various social media networks at John Campea. Very simple. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming. We will see you next season. So until then, take it easy.
Later, cats.